Oh yeah. Welcome back to Fast Freddy RC, and today I'm going to take you through the build process of the 1/10 scale Tamiya Grasshopper. Now, this is super cool because this is a very iconic car buggy from the 80s from Tamiya, and it's, you know, having built it now, I think this is one of the coolest cars to have in my collection, and it certainly looks super cool. I'll be very curious to get it out there and test it out. But here's what I thought I would do. I know there's a lot of people that may have never dived into the whole RC side of things, and I thought, well, you know what, with the Grasshopper being more or less a starter kit in the world of RC, why not do a video that is a starter build so that you understand how to actually build one of these kits. So what I've done is I've gone through all of the steps, but in step 1, I'm taking you through everything. Where to find the nuts, which bag, how to understand how to find the parts, etc., etc., etc. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to basically do less and less as we go along, because if you followed me in the first few steps, you kind of understand what I'm doing in the, you know, in the next few steps, and so on and so on. So it'll be a more detailed build at the beginning, less detailed build by the end of it. So I think this is going to be fun to actually do for you, and I certainly hope this is going to help you with your builds. And you know, if you're wanting to get a starter kit, the Grasshopper is definitely one to consider. So few things before we get started. When you buy the Grasshopper, it comes in this box. There's your kit, but you're going to need other things in order to run it. One, you're going to need a radio. Now I've chosen the Futaba 3P-RKA system. I love Futaba. It's the radio of choice for me. It's my go-to. So I've got this radio to install into this kit. So this is the one that we're going to be using throughout the manual. You are going to need a battery. This one's a Duratrax one. It's an older battery of mine, but you'll need this with the Tamiya connector. It's a 7.2 volt battery, so you're going to need one of these. You are also going to need a charger in order to charge said battery. This is a very simple AC/DC peak charger. This one was from Tower Hobbies, but it gives you the option of charging it directly from AC outlet, or if you're on the track out somewhere, you can actually charge it through your car with the gator clips on your car's battery. So very simple, takes about 15-20 minutes to charge the battery. You're also going to need some tools, and these are the tools that I have. And I never thought I would get specific tools for these kits because I always thought it was the same, but Tamiya uses what's called a JIS screw, which is a Japanese industry standard. It is not a Phillips screw head, it is JIS. The moment I got these tools, which is a kit that Tamiya produced, they are all JIS, it was way easier to put the cars together because they fit perfectly with the screws in the car. So that's awesome. So those are the tools, those are the other items you're going to need in order to complete a kit and get it running. The other thing you'll end up needing is some paint. With the Grasshopper, because it's molded in white, and I chose to do this video as a beginner kit, I've touched nothing with the body other than, you know, obviously putting on the stickers. But you'll see the little guy in there, the driver, good old Frank Evans. He has been painted, and I, you know, tweaked the colors a little bit, and I think it looks really good, but you'll see that in the video. So, one last thing that you will need is you're going to need some AA batteries for the controller. That's pretty standard. You can get some Duracell. These ones came from Costco, but that's simple. So that's everything we need. So let's go ahead and get started with the build. And then you can see how this would come together from step 1 right through to the end. And again, I'm going to do this very simple, as though you've never seen one or you've never built a kit before. And hopefully this will be very helpful for you. So let's get to the build. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take you through the build process of the Grasshopper from start to finish on the premise that you have never built an RC car before in your life, so that you can really have an understanding of how the build process will go, and it should make it easier for you. Now, I've pulled together some of the supplies I'm going to need for this. So I've got an X-Acto knife for the parts trees. I've got a set of pliers, which I know I'm going to use throughout the kit. I have a pair of shock pliers. You don't have to have those, but they do make it easier. And then I have a set of screwdrivers, and they are Tamiya, because all the screws in a Tamiya kit are JIS. They're not, which is Japanese industry standard, as opposed to, let's say, a Phillips screwdriver. And trust me, a Phillips screwdriver is quite different to a JIS. Now, I'm upgrading one thing with this car as we go along, which is a full set of ball bearings. Something that I would certainly suggest you do at the beginning. It just makes it easier, otherwise you're going to have to take the gearbox apart to put all of this in and put the wheels in, or put these in the wheels, etc. So that's the one thing that will be an upgrade when we get through the kit. So, but first, I'll walk you through the start of this, and we're going to do things very, very slowly, step by step, and like I said, it'll get faster as we go along. So first step, let's take a look at the instruction manual. So when you open it up, the first thing you're going to notice is it's actually going through what are the items that are required. So you're going to need a servo, and it's kind of showing you an idea of what the size of the servo should be. You can see that at the bottom it's showing you the kinds of tools that are going to be required in order to build this kit. It's also showing you the radio, because you need a radio, electronic speed controller, servo for the steering, and then there's different types of radios. So there's a pistol grip, or there's the stick one. The stick one is not common anymore. Most companies are now using the pistol grip style. You'll see a lot of this style for maybe something like a semi-trailer, but for a vehicle like the Grasshopper, most cases, and the most affordable ones, are going to be this pistol grip style, because you don't need anything specific for a Grasshopper, that's for sure. So it's kind of walking you through that. You're going to need a battery. Now with this kit, remember, it actually, I saw it here earlier, here it is. It actually comes with a TBL2 electronic speed controller. So the Grasshopper actually comes with one, so you're not going to have to worry about that. But you would need a 7.2 volt battery as well, which I showed earlier. And then of course, maybe some paint. But with this one, we're not going to paint it. We're going to leave it as is and just put the stickers on top of it. Now you've got some safety instructions that they always put in. You know, it's pretty standard. I'm not going to walk through all of that. You'll see it yourself in your own kit. And then it's kind of showing you things to do, what not to do. And then again, it's showing you the setup for your radio gear in terms of how you would put this all together. In terms of connecting the wires and cables, etc. And then when we come to here, we're here. This is now step one. So you can see that the first thing that we're going to need to do is build the gearbox. And you can see here, these are the pieces here that are bushings that'll be included in the kit, but we are going to replace these with ball bearings, so that we don't have to open this up again. And as I've said this in every build I've ever done, my suggestion, and I would highly recommend it, that even if you're just getting started, you should replace the plastic or brass bushings with ball bearings right off the bat, because it saves on your wear and tear. And if you intend on keeping the car for a long time and you don't want any problems, it would be well worth making the investment. And it's not too bad a cost. I mean, I think for me that set might have cost me $20, 25 maybe in Canadian. So it's really not too bad a cost. So then you can see there's 2 putting the gearbox together. 3, same thing, we're going to add on the motor. 4, we're going to attach the gearbox to the bathtub frame. Then with the step 5, we're going to put shocks together and add them to the car. Step 6, we're going to add and attach the motor and the pinion to the gearbox. 6, we're going to look at the battery, get that charged up so that we can configure the battery and the servo to make sure that the servo is centered when you install it, because often, you know, you don't want to put all the pieces on and then find out that that little servo piece right there wasn't centered at manufacturing and it defaults to something else, which means you'd have to take all this off again. So we're going to go through that in step 7. Then in step 8, we're going to attach the servo to these arms, and then you can see it's going to be installed in the bathtub frame with the 2 screws. Moving on, 10, we're going to start installing all of the electrical equipment and your receiver, etc. Put the electronic speed controller in place. Then work on the front arms for the uprights at the front. And then, whoop, gone too far. Oh, that was 11. Yes, we're doing that. And then 12, we're going to, same thing, we're going to work on the steering arms, putting those things together. Then we're going to install all that onto the body. Same thing, we're now going to put on the front shocks. And then step 15, it's the tires, kind of showing you what's going on, putting on the tires and the wheels together. 17, going to put the bearings in, shows the plastic bushings, but we're going to attach the front tires. And then 18, we're going to attach the rear tires. 19, put in the battery and the battery cover. Then steering adjustments, we're going to get this all set up so that these are in line, so that they're straight, so that we don't have any weirdness with the front steering. And then we're going to start painting the body where necessary. Shows some spray, so I'm curious to know what we need to do with that. I may just brush it on based on what that is, but we'll see. And then we're going to put together the driver figure. I'm going to paint the driver figure. And then in step 23, it's putting on all of the stickers. And you can see more stickers on the other side. And then we're going to attach the body to the frame. And, you know, it's showing you some safety instructions again. And then there's some troubleshooting stuff that it shows here if there's any issues that you find after you've built it. And it kind of gives you some driving instructions as well, like how to turn it on, what's the proper way to turn on an RC car, showing you how to drive it, and then, you know, some ways of turning it off and what to do if the battery's overheating, etc., etc. So these are things we'll get to, but the point is, at the back, it now shows all the parts from all the parts trees that are included in the kit. So you know exactly what you need, what you don't need, and what's all in each parts bag as well, because you can see there's different screw bags. All those pieces will be in there. It tells you how many. And then here is just a parts list. So you could actually order the parts. Let's say you broke something or something was missing. You can actually order the different parts by the parts number. So overall, that is the entire manual for the Grasshopper. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move over to step 1, and I'm going to pull all the pieces together, and then we're going to build the gearbox.